Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. My name's Dennis. Okay, so if you've been following my videos, you know that I said I was going to do a system build. I was going to do the Kraken X62, but it's taking a little longer than I thought. So that's going to come a little bit later, probably another week from now. So this week's video is going to be a case unboxing and a review of a new case that I got called the Viper GX. So it's not a case I'd normally buy, but it's a system build for my daughter, and she really liked the look of it, so we're going to find out just how good a case it is. So here's our first look at the box. One of the things I noticed right off the bat when I got it is the box is damaged on the top. Okay, so I'm hoping that's not too bad. Maybe it hasn't actually done any real damage to the case, but we'll find out when we open it. Okay, so the nice thing is, once I got it out of the box, I realized that there was quite a bit of room in here, so there's absolutely no damage to this or this, so we can assume that everything is going to be okay. So let's get it out of the packing here. It's a bit of a bigger case than I thought it was before, so that might do us well. Let's have our first look. So from the side of the case, we're just going to undo it. So we got the typical thumb screws in the back, and they suit me because they're not that adaptive screw, which always kind of, to me, gets in the way. Just unscrew that. Well, it's got a nice little handle here, and you just pull, and it comes off. Pretty sturdy, I gotta say. It's better than I thought it might be. And yes, this is green, but that's the color she wanted. So now we're gonna see how it goes. I really like this handle though. It's kind of cool. So you can see the back of the case here. Of course, the green is a bit much for me, but that's what she likes, so that's good. So you've got your normal cutouts here. There is no rubber grommets, so I don't know how much that matters. I tend to, sometimes I like them, sometimes I don't. But one of the things it does have is a lot of tie-offs for your cables, for your cable management. Now, there's not a lot of room, but I think it's typical for most cases, so it's not too bad. And in here, they just kind of put their box in here nice and loose. So, looks like it's okay. Nothing, everything's in there. I'm going to say, this is making me suspicious that this has been opened before, but the way it's tucked in here. Maybe it's not. We'll see. We'll know. I'll know more once I start looking at everything more in depth. Okay, so they really tried to protect their product, which is, I think, good for them. There's certainly lots of plastic covering everything. Okay, you can see it kind of starts to look a lot more slick once we get all the plastic off, which there is lots and lots. But nothing wrong with protecting your investment, I guess. Okay, I'll have to get that when I get to the bottom, but that's okay. So there's your first look there. I think it's kind of cool. Now I'm curious as to what this is. Okay, so this is kind of neat. This is actually a place to hard swap a 2.5-inch drive. So that's kind of cool. And it just has a little thing just to kind of hold it in place, which just kind of clicks in place. And I'll show you the top here again, but you've got your two USB 3.0s, your switches, and of course we got more plastic here. We'll get that off. Again, this is originally not a case I would have probably ever gotten, but now that I see it, it's not too shabby. It's actually pretty darn good. I'm really impressed by it. So you may see me use these in future builds, because it does have kind of a neat look. Let's turn that a little more for you. Kind of got like a transformer look kind of going on there. And this is from a company called Raidmax. Okay, so it's a Raidmax Viper GX case. And it's a mid-tower case. So moving on to the other side, again, you just have your two thumb screws here. Okay. Again, you got your little handle on this side too, which, well, that's kind of neat. Not necessary, but it's just a gimmick like everything else. It has a nice little side window. Of course, the plastic's on there just to protect it from scratches for now, on the outside and inside. And again, it's pretty sturdy. So as we look at the inside of the case, we have room for three 3.5-inch drives, And of course you could always accommodate that to, and it is toolless as well. And you could accommodate that to your SSD for each one of these because you've got your 4 screws. And it goes out and goes in pretty good. So no problems there. You have your optical drives. You could put up to 3 in here if you wanted to. Most people don't even have one, so I'd certainly probably just use the one. You have your standard ATX motherboard, and you can put a micro ATX motherboard on this as well. You've got room for PCI Express, AGP, and PCI, and your standard graphics cards, of course. On the top, I'll show you that afterward, but you'll see that it has 2 USB 3.0s and your HD audio and mic. Okay, so having a look at the top of the case, you've got lots of room for airflow through here. You've got slits all through here, okay, to provide more airflow. Now, if you look here, you can see the 2 USB 3.0s. One of the things I do notice, though, is right here it doesn't say which one's mic and which one is your headphone jack. I guess that's one of the downsides to this case for sure. But of course you can look in your manual to find out which one it is. And as I said here in the front, okay, this is your hot swappable SSD, which is kind of cool. I'll see how that works. I've never had a case with that on it before. And of course you have your power switch and your reset switch. So another nice feature to this case is, now I've already taken them out, there's 2 screws that fasten on the top here. And once you unscrew that, you just slide this here out. It'll just come out. Well, comes out somehow. Okay, just anyhow, you can remove it, bottom line. And what that does is it frees up a whole lot of space here for any graphics card. So you've got room in there for probably the longest graphics card. I don't think there's any graphics card out there that would be longer than that. If there is, well, I'd be very shocked. So no worries with whether you can fit your GPU in there whatsoever. So your graphics card size will accommodate to 415 millimeters, just in case you're looking for the dimension on that. When we get to the top, you'll see that this case will accommodate a 240 millimeter radiator. In this case, will accommodate up to 6 120 millimeter case fans. So one thing you want to notice is once I've moved this over, okay, so you've got less room here, but you've now made much more room for a graphics card. Or you could just take it out altogether. It totally is up to you. Okay, so we'll move on to the top of the case. The case comes off. I've already loosened it a little bit, so it just basically pops off, and that's it. So it's just come off. We'll set that to the side. So one of the things you can notice, it's got room for 2 120 millimeter case fans. So one here, another one here, or you could fit in here a 240 millimeter radiator. You can see here where your cables are. Now the nice thing about this is when you remove the front of your case, all of this is fastened to the top of the case, so it's not going to interfere with you taking the cover off or putting it back on. Of course, you can see your lights here for your LED and when it's turned on, your USB. Now again, one thing I did notice with this case that I didn't like, it does not tell you which one is the headphone and which one is the mic. So something else I just want to point out is you can see the depth of your top cover. So when that's on, it's going to give you a little bit more room up here in case you want to mount your fans on the top of the case. Okay, so we're going to put the case back on. It goes on real simple. Okay, just push it back down. That's it. Okay, so one of the other things I did point out was the fact that there's a hot swappable SSD port here. So you simply just slide it in and then it slides right in. And it locks in place. So that's kind of cool. I'm not sure I would use that a whole lot, but it's certainly there. It's a nice feature. I mean, I don't know, honestly, I think I'd use a USB, but it's there. Again, just pull it back out. Same thing, back in. Simple. It's a nice feature. It might be nice if you want to have some games on there. Take your games with you. Just have to pull it out, take it with you, put it into a hard drive enclosure, and take your games with you to another computer maybe. Okay, so moving on to the front of the case again, just to show you one more feature. Of course, you've got the surface here. It's prone to fingerprints a little bit. And on the side, of course, you want to get to your optical drive, it just opens up. Okay, pulls out. You want to just pop it out a little bit, slap it back in. All right. So one of the things I wanted to mention as well is on the inside of this, if you don't like this color, you decide you want whatever other color. Now, it's going to be a lot of work because you're not just going to have to paint this. You're also going to have to paint the inside where your motherboard's going to go. So if you want to go to all that trouble, I suppose you could, but I know I would not. I'm not a modder. It's not my thing. But if you wanted to just paint this, leave the motherboard green, you could do that. Make it a red or whatever you want to make it. Certainly an option. In the inside, it comes pre-installed with one 120mm fan and room for another 120mm. Okay, just for ease of doing the video, I've loosened this off. You have little plastic tabs in the bottom here just so you can do that, and then it just lifts off. Okay, so you can see the inside. These are the tabs I'm referring to right here. Okay, you got 6 of those on it, and then it comes off. So, having a look at this now, you can see your 120mm case fan. Okay, that's included. What they've done is they've mounted the fan here, but there is holes to move it down, so you can move this down and then install 2 120mm fans. So they just decided to put it here so it's over top of your hard drive and it would cool that down. So what I've done in this case, just because I like a different look of fan, and I'm building this for my daughter, she wants green. So I went and bought 2 Cooler Master 120mm fans. So I have 2 of them up here. So they've got the proper connectors, which I like to use. So I fed them both down through here. Okay, so that's where the cables are going down through. And that replaced this one that was on it, but it's probably just a little bit noisier. These ones would be a lot quieter, and they went on no problem whatsoever. So all that's to do after that is just to put the front panel back on. So we just slap that back on. One of the things I was noticing when I went to put it on is it kind of slides in on here, so you may have to pry up the top piece here just a little bit so you can put it in and then put it back on. So now we got it in. We got our 2 fans in here, 2 120mm fans from Cooler Master. Now it also comes with another Raidmax fan on the inside of the case, which is a 120 rear exhaust. And I'm going to mount one probably on the top just to give that, just to give a little bit more color to the case. So I got the fan, I might as well use it. So just to show you how much room you do have for your graphics card, I've got the R9 290X I used in a few other videos, just to show you the size. Now this is quite a large graphics card. I mean, some of the newer ones, the 1070s, are a little bit longer, but when you put this in the case, you can see if I put that in here, okay, you see how much more room you have left? So if you didn't move this over, it might be kind of flush, but by moving this over, you're going to be able to accommodate quite a large graphics card. So the 120mm fan that I had on the front of the case that I replaced, just used the fan in the case just for more airflow. So I did mount it here. Okay, a flush mount, no problem. So it's not going to interfere with the case going back on, or the front panel going back on, I mean. So now we got a few more extra fans. And I mean, again, you can see that if you had a radiator, 240mm radiator, should go in here without a problem. So moving on to the back of the case. Of course, you can see you got your rear exhaust fan on the inside, 120mm. You've got 2 water cooling spots. Of course, you've got your I/O shield for where your motherboard I/O shield is going to go. You've got your slots for your PCIe connectors, like your graphics cards, etc. And of course, your bottom mount power supply. And you got some more room here for airflow. So we'll move on to the bottom of the case now. So on the bottom of the case, we do have some filters for your fan. They just snap off and then snap back on. Okay. I'd have preferred ones that you can just pull out. Okay, it doesn't go back on that easy, but anyway. And the same thing here. You got another one that snaps off. I don't really like that design. Personally, I like the ones that you can just pull on, pull off. Because in this case, it's standing up. I mean, if you're going to clean this, you're not going to be able to, well, you'd have to lay it down, pop these off, wash them, put it back on. You know, it's not a big deal, but I just think it would be better if they had done it the other way. So you've also got your rubber feet. Your standard, there's nothing special about them, I don't think. And that's it for the bottom of the case. Okay, so having one last look at the Viper GX, we'll go over the dimensions. It's 21 inches high, 9.5 inches wide, and 20 inches deep. The max CPU cooler height allowance is 165 millimeter, and it supports CPU coolers up to 176 millimeters or 6.9 inches high. Okay, it has support for 240 millimeter dual fan liquid cooling system. The case is steel and plastic. It's very light, which is, I kind of always like that feature. It does have some removable filters. One was on the front as well. It has compatibility for 7 2.5 inch drives, or you've also got the 3.5 inch drives as well. It has a black interior with green motherboard tray for a stylish look. It has the front 2.5 inch hard disk drive hot swappable, so you can use SSDs or just a different hard drive, a little 2.5 inch one. It has a bottom mount for your power supply, and the fact that it's toolless is always a nice feature. Okay, so one of the last things I'm just going to discuss is inside the box here. You get some Velcro straps just to tie things off. You've got a case speaker, another additional standoff, which I'm not sure if you'll need it or not, and motherboard screws and various things inside your case, and your hard drive. There's actual hard drive caddies that you can put your hard drives into. Okay, so if you put two of them in like that, of course you just slide it in, and that's pretty much it. So if you're going to use this, I'm going to suggest maybe just leave it open, but that's totally your choice. But it is hard to get out. Okay, it's easy to get out, I mean, but it's hard. Like once you try to put it back in, if you push in the wrong place, it's going to be hard to get back out. So then you're going to need a knife or something. I've done that a couple times. But if you get it out, you want to put your SSD in here, it'll mount in there. I think that's a kind of a unique feature. Kind of redeems this case in a little bit, in my opinion. Overall, it's a great looking case. For the price, it's not too bad. You can get them on newegg.ca for $59.99 right now. So for a budget build, budget case, I think this meets the mark perfectly. Okay, so if you want to install an optical drive, simply take this out, okay, squeeze this together, pull it out, bring it up here, okay. It's just going to slide right in. Now it is toolless, so when you're putting it in, you have to push on the little button on the side, and then it clicks in place. Okay, so that button that I was talking about is just right here. You just push it, and that releases it, and when you let go, it locks it in place. Okay, so if you're going to build inside this case, first thing you would do is put your I/O shield in, and it just simply goes up in the back here. You want to line it up. Okay, you also have to make sure you get this out of the way. There, that's your finished product. No biggie. Okay, so here's a look inside the system after everything is built. Motherboard's in, power supply, graphics card, everything. It turned out pretty well. Everything went in pretty good. The cable management on the back actually went really smooth. Had more room than I thought it was going to have. I've certainly built into much worse cases. This actually turned out to be much better than I thought. It's got some downsides, like any case. There's not a case out there I haven't found something wrong with. I'm pretty happy with this purchase, actually. So now we'll give you one more look at what it looks like when it's all fired up and the lights are on. Okay, so here's what the system looks like after I replace the fan in the front with two different green LED fans. Hey, it looks kind of cool. It kind of looks like the Transformer look there. Okay, everybody, that's it. If you like, you hit the like. If you don't, you know what to do. Please subscribe in order to see more of my videos. And look forward to my next one. Thanks for watching.